Hey guys, in this episode, we're going to discuss whether or not you should be coming back to Frostborn. So, right now, some of you who've been following the channel, a lot of you ask, should I come back to Frostborn, yada, yada, yada. Is it worth playing the game every day? Is it worth doing these things? And I would say no, not right now. But that being said, for those of you who didn't watch my video about the duelist, they are giving a sneak peek to the next class they're going to unlock. And it looks pretty awesome. I mean, it has a passive ability of, so basically you create this arena it's not like the arena the way we think about it. It creates a little area that you can trap someone. And then you fight in that area and you've got some advantages. But more importantly, it's got a grappling hook, which is basically, if you play League of Legends, it's the Blitzcrank. It's the ultimate initiator for a team, and so it's gonna add some new PvP aspects to the game. Being able to grab someone and pull them towards you, it's gonna be pretty amazing. Also maybe OP and break the game a little bit, but so I wouldn't say, oh, come back for this class. What I would say is, if they're starting to promote PvP, season 4 had a little bit more of a PvP feel. Not much. Season 1 through 3 were like completely PvE, like go do Odins, go do the portals. But in season 4, they're like making us go to PvE, like you have to turn in. It's still easy to do, but there's risk, at least, that someone could steal all your stuff if you go in. So it kind of brings a little bit of that PvP feel back to Frostborn, but not much, not enough. I still get bot zones sometimes. It's not really worth coming back yet. But the reason I say that is, if they're adding this duelist class and then with their focus on the PvP aspects of the game, if they're bringing that back in, I mean, when Frostborn really focused on PvP, it was a lot of fun. Like when they added druids and when they added the Giant's Treasure. I mean, that was in my opinion like the golden ages of Frostborn. We had lots of teams. We went in there. There are definitely some issues. Here's what I'd say. The issue with Frostborn, and the reason why I'd say don't come back yet, but if you're looking for my advice on when to come back to Frostborn, and you're more of a PvP minded person, Frostborn needs to do a couple things. They need to they have different options. Basically, in short, they need to make it to where there's more PvP in the game. Okay? More PvP options in the game for people that want PvP. Because right now, if you're going to go try to find PvP in the Forest of Shadows, you might end up with a bot zone and then you have to wait for it to reset. It's just so annoying to try to look for PvP in that way. So, but you can still get some PvP. You can get some in Druid's Treasure, and you can get some in Helheim Rift. The problem is that those two zones, the places that you can guarantee to get PvP, you have to have a 4-man team. Well, it's hard to maintain a 4-man team of people that are actively PvPing, because you can only PvP 5 minutes every 2 hours, and every 30 minutes there might be some PvP, but again, you're not necessarily guaranteed for it. And you can't go do solo PvP. You can't do 2v2 or 3v3, at least not without the chance of a 4-person team coming at you. So if you have a 4-man team and all of you love PvP and all of you stick together and all of you are active, you are gods in this game. Okay, you dominate. Okay, that's the beauty. But then one gets busy with real life, and all of a sudden you're down to a 3-man team, and you're like, do I kick him out? Do I wait for another person? Do we, it's just a hassle. Our bases don't line up. And that's one of the biggest problems with Frostborn. So what I would say is that what I'm looking for when I'm going to say, hey guys, now it's time to come back to Frostborn, what I'm looking for is either 2v2 or 3v3 events. And 1v1 would be good too. Like a 1v1 druid would be fun. But personally, I like the team play. So I'll let you guys know if you like one. I might say, hey, some of you should come back, and that would be if there's just 1v1. Like if they made a druids that you could go in as a one player. And there would probably be a lot of teaming. So really, I don't know if I like druids. Really, I think they need to have like 2v2, 3v3, those different options. And they need to make them more common. And so if they added a new PvP zone that it was easier to find. So here's the thing. It might be fine to do 4v4 if there was more PvP. So if, let's say right now you can play 5 minutes every 2 hours, right? That's not enough to be like, oh, this is my game, you know? In PUBG or any battle royale game, I mean, or any PvP game, you just play constantly, right? I mean, you just start next match after next match. Frostborn doesn't have anything like that. You've got your one zone and it's every 2 hours. So that's the biggest problem. Now there has been a lot more PvP up here in the red zone, the northern wasteland, and I would say it's pretty good. I'm kind of sad that Frostborn was on the decline in PvP when that came out. A lot of PvP players had already left because honestly, I think that it would be pretty fun PvP. I go solo all the time and I run away from people that are good at PvP and I still have fun, you know? And it's super lucrative with, you know, the loot that you can get. So, and it's dynamic with the storm that comes. So yeah, I would say that's definitely worth it. That's another 15 minutes every hour that you can do, but sometimes you won't run into anyone. And so it's cool, but it's not quite there. It's cool, but it's not, I don't know, something about it's not quite there. Maybe if they added more stuff like the Northern Wastelands but they were on different times to where basically if you were active enough, you could constantly be looking for PvP. That would be pretty fun, and probably, you know, it's a snowball effect, right? If you get more PvP, then more PvP players join the game, which gives us all more PvP. The problem is finding enough people, and when they changed the zones to where it was hard to find other players, sometimes you just run into bots. It really ruined PvP for the game, but they didn't do that for the Northern Lands. Like if you go to the Northern Wasteland, you're going to run into real players, which is fantastically done. So, and I'm just sad that Frostborn wasn't at its heyday when that came out, but I imagine that if they ever add more PvP, like if they add an arena or if they add any other type of PvP events that get us in on it, then and more PvP players start coming to the game, I think that the Northern Wasteland is going to keep people interested. People are going to be like, oh, this game's amazing. And if you don't know how to survive the Northern Wasteland, I've got videos on it. But yeah, so let's see. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put my stuff away and I'm going to go to Druids because I just want to show you guys, for those of you who have left for a while. Okay, so I'm heading over to Druids and I'm actually not on that active of a server. But you know what? Even as a non-active server, there's probably still going to be players here. And that's one of the beautiful things about Druids. Let's see if we can't find some players. There we go. So look at that. There's a whole team right there. I don't think I'm going to get away from these guys. We'll see if I get away. I got away. This is beautiful. They ran. They looked for the shadows. They lost faith that they could get me. That was awesome. Okay, so you can see that even on a non-active server like this one, this is the old beta server, one of my first accounts. This is before global even happened, okay? This server is about as dead as it gets. There are still active people at Druids. You know, people that love this game, that want PvP, they show up to Druids. And the times that I have the most fun, when I have a full team, of 4 players, I have so much fun in these zones. Okay, they're just so full of life and excitement, and so really, I would say that I will tell you guys, hey, it's time to come back to Frostborn if they create enough of this, enough of these type of events that you can kind of feel like, oh yeah, no, maybe it's not constant, but it's enough to where it's like, oh yeah, we're playing a lot, and yeah, if that's the case, then it will be then I'll be sending out the signal. Come back to Frostborn, because they have this, which is good, but it's not good enough by itself. Does that make sense? So, yeah, so if they have more of these or more of this, but really more of these, this is the main thing that's all PvP related, super full of life. We need more of those things. I would say if they can get it up to 30 minutes out of every 2 hours, okay? And right now, I would say the most PvP you can get. You can guarantee 5 minutes out of every 2 hours. So that's these zones. It's a guaranteed 5 minutes. I would say from these you can get maybe about 5 minutes every 2 hours. So that's 30 minutes of it playing. Nah, maybe more. Maybe you get 10 minutes. Maybe a third of your time in here. And so that would be 15 minutes out of every 2 hours combined. Okay? 10 from this, maybe 5 each time you do it, and then 5 each time you do this, which is every 2 hours. So that's 15 minutes. I think it needs to get doubled. And I would say Helheim Rift, you're looking at maybe 2 minutes out of every 2 hours. So if you add everything together, I would say Frostborn right now is at 17 minutes out of every 2 hours that you can play. And I think it needs to be at 30 minutes every 2 hours in order for you to play. So when that happens, I will let you guys know, and I'll be telling you guys, now's the time to come back. All right, guys. I'll see you next time.